Okay, welcome everybody. We'll just take a minute to get everybody logged on and entered into the meeting, and we should get going in just a minute. So just take a little bit of a quick second to let everybody in. I'm going to ask everybody to please keep yourselves on mute until we get going. Okay. Again, please keep yourself on mute until we get to the question and answer section, and we'll invite you to come off mute and we shall get going. All right. Okay. See, we have a good number of people joining us today. We'll continue to let folks in. So let's get going, folks. Hello, my name is Strat Maluma. I'm with AARP California. I also serve as the California lead for the AARP Fraud Watch Network, which is a free fraud prevention and education resource that's available to anyone. Our network is all about helping communities avoid frauds and scams through information, through education, through events, and through resources. Thank you for joining us for our second conversation in a series of weekly interactive conversations that on fraud and education that we're hosting throughout August with our good friends from the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. I hope you'll help us make this an interactive conversation by sharing your comments, your experiences, your thoughts, and also by asking your question. And as always, we'll set aside time at the end of today's presentation to answer those questions. For today's topic, we're going to be talking about home improvements and solar scams. But before I get into introducing our guest for today's conversation, I want to do a little poll. It's a two-part poll question to see where you are on this topic. So let's bring up our poll, and I invite you to respond to it. So our first poll question is on your screens. Please respond to this poll question. Let's see. Have you had any home repairs or improvements done lately? Let's see where you are. Give folks a couple of more seconds to respond to that before we launch our results. Okay, 3 more seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll end the poll now and let's see how you responded. Okay, so a good number of you, it seems just over a third have done so, no, and some plan to do so in the near future. Let's look at our second poll question that follows that up. Our second poll question for you is how do you usually locate a contractor to do a home improvement project? Do you go to a referral? Do you search on Google, or do you have some other means of finding a contractor? We'll give folks a couple more seconds to respond. Okay. All right, we're going to end the poll question in 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Then let's see how you responded. Okay. So here's how folks responded. So most of us referrals. So referrals are really a big thing for us in terms of how we find a contractor. Thank you for sharing that. So now let's meet our guest for today's conversation. Joining us for the first time is Kevin Burraway with the Department of Consumer Affairs Contractor State Licensing Board. It's also my pleasure to welcome back Jackie Wiley as well as Sally Westlake from the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. Welcome, Jackie, Kevin, and Sally. Would you care to introduce yourselves?
Absolutely. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today, guys. My name is Kevin Durway from the Department of Consumer Affairs Contractor State License Board. I've been with the state of California government for about 3.5 years. As I'm an information officer 1, so I handle press inquiries, social media, and also outreach, talking to folks like you. Before we're joining the state of California, I worked for about 20 years in the TV journalism industry.
Thank you, Kevin. Sally and Jackie?
All right, good afternoon, everyone. And again, welcome back to our second series. I'm Jackie Wiley, and I am one of the targeted outreach specialists with the department. And I have been in state service for over 25 years. Back in 1999, I was on the front line in the enforcement division, serving consumers. And then in 2001, I took it out into the field to educate consumers all throughout California on the warning signs of fraud prevention. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Sally?
Thank you, Strat, and thank you all for spending your lunchtime with us. We're excited to be partnering with AARP California to host Scam Chat Wednesdays. And if you saw our first one, like Jackie said, welcome back. My name is Sally Westlake, and I am the DFPI's Targeted Outreach Specialist for the state Central Valley region. I started my career in state service 19 years ago, and for the last 15 years, I've been a part of outreach teams educating consumers, older adults in the insurance and financial services industry. My focus is to inform the most vulnerable in our communities avoid scams and make choices that set them up for financial success.
Thank you very much, Joe, for being with us. Let's start with Kevin. Kevin, can you tell us why is it so important that the Contractor State Licensing Board speaks to older adults about frauds and scams, especially when it comes to home improvement scams?
Absolutely, Strat. Well, unfortunately, unlicensed individuals do like to target older Americans, and we're going to go into a lot of reasons why. Again, I'm with Contractor State License Board. We are a consumer protection group. We protect California consumers by licensing nearly 300,000 contractors in 45 different classifications. Classifications are things like plumbing, concrete, fencing, or just B, general builders who build homes and apartments. You can advance the slide. Unfortunately, unlicensed individuals do target older adults. Part of the reason is that older adults are trusting, which makes them more vulnerable to scams. Unlicensed individuals will often try to manipulate older adults and establish connections with them. One way is, you might hear them say, "Oh, your grandson plays for Laguna Creek High School. My neighbor's kid down the street plays for Laguna Creek High School. They're doing great this year." They'll try to establish a connection with you and then scam you or manipulate you. Scammers are also attracted to older adults' life savings and pensions. All your hard work that you've gone through your whole life, the scammers are attracted to that, and they're trying to take that away from you. Some of the biggest scams we see at Contractor State License Board, they involve an unusually large down payment for your home improvement project. Under California law, the down payment must be no more than 10% or $1,000, whatever is less. Other common scams we see at Contractor State License Board involve door-to-door sales that involve pressure and scare tactics. You might get a knock on the door, someone offering you a free home inspection, okay? So you let them in, sounds like a great deal, right? You let them in, all of a sudden they're looking around your house, they find cracks on the ceiling, a drippy faucet, all these problems that might not really be problems at all, but they want you to hire them to fix them. You don't know if this individual is licensed or not unlicensed, and they're trying to pressure you to get some money and get paid to do a job which they might not be licensed to do. Another common scam involves verbal agreements, the prices of materials changing during the job. Part of the reason you want to get a written contract is to avoid disputes like this, especially during the pandemic. The prices of materials can change. The price of lumber has changed. The price of concrete has changed. You got to get those in writing on your contract before agreeing to work with a contractor. And speaking of payment, never pay in cash. The best way to pay a contractor is with a written check, and keep a copy of that check in a folder for safekeeping. What can you do if you've been scammed? Well, please call Contractor State License Board, 1-800-321-CSLB or 2752. You can also file a complaint on our website. It's very important to note that older adults do have 4 years from the date of their construction project to file a complaint with CSLB. So if you got your pool repaired last summer and it's been acting up and you're not happy with the job that the contractor did, there's still time to file a complaint with CSLB. You should also be aware that in the state of California, older adults ages 65 and up have a 5-day right to cancel a contract. So if you do feel like you've fallen victim to a high pressure scam, you can cancel that contract within 5 days. So why should you use a licensed contractor? Well, licensed contractors do pass trade and law exams and background checks with Contractor State License Board. They're also required to hold $15,000 bonds, adding to your consumer protection. They're also required to hold workers' compensation insurance if they have employees. This is very important because that covers worker injuries. If the contractor has employees and does not have workers' compensation insurance, one of those workers gets hurt on the job, you, the consumer, may be held liable for those injuries. You get greater consumer protection when you use a licensed contractor. CSLB can step in and help you with a negotiation, mediation, and arbitration. It's also important to note California law, which requires licensed contractors for any home improvement job that costs $500 or more. That is a very low figure. So most of the times you're hiring someone for home improvement, you're going to be wanting to look for a licensed contractor. So if you're looking for a contractor, make sure you check the license on our website, cslb.ca.gov. It only takes a matter of seconds, and you're going to quickly get access to all this information. Their business information, which includes their license expiration date, the status of their license, any disclosable consumer complaints against that license, what they're classified to do. Are they classified to do concrete and fencing? You have to want to make sure they are before you hire them. It also includes bonding information and whether they do carry a workers' compensation insurance policy. I want to quickly touch on solar before we move on. If you're considering a solar project, consider the length of time you're going to be in your home. Typically, you want to be living in your home for at least the next 5 years before you consider a solar project. You also want to consider the direction of your roof. If your roof is obstructed by trees or power lines, you may not get the full benefits of solar power. You also want to do the math with solar projects. Look at your monthly utility statements. Find out how much the solar system is going to cost you, how much money you're going to be saving on those monthly statements. When is your break-even point? When are you going to pay off that solar system and actually start saving money? It's important to know before you work with solar. Some reminders about solar. Solar is not a free thing. If a salesperson is saying that your solar project is going to be free, they're misleading you. Solar systems cost a lot of money. You also want to be aware of financing programs that involve PACE, HERO, CHIEF, or real loans. They often come with high interest rates that are tied to your property taxes. So in 2-3 years' time, you might see your property taxes double, even triple. And unfortunately, we've seen people actually lose their homes because of this. You want to make sure you protect yourself when you're working with a solar contractor or any solar contractor. Make sure you have control over your payments. Get everything in writing. In a written contract. If you're working with solar, you should get a 1-page sheet, a financing estimate, and a disclosure document. That should clearly spell out the facts of the solar system that you're about to purchase and how much it costs. You also want to read the contract carefully with friends and family. Sit with the contract for 24 hours before you sign it. Make sure you completely understand it before you sign any written document. Again, protect yourself. Hire licensed contractors. You can do that on our website. Use the Find My Licensed Contractor tool. You can simply type in your zip code, what type of contractor you're looking for, and you'll get a nice printable, downloadable list of contractors willing to work with you that are licensed through CSLB. You also want to check the license. Using the instant license check on cslb.ca.gov, you can get all this information also by phone, 1-800-321-CSLB or 2752. Please remember, the down payment you hand over to any contractor must be no more than 10% or $1,000, whatever's less. If you give too much money up front, the contractor may leave without doing the correct job or doing any work at all. You also never want to let your payments get ahead of the work. Money is your leverage when you're working with contractors. Again, feel free to contact us, Contractor State License Board. 1-800-321-CSLB or 2752. You can also email us social@cslb.ca.gov. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. And that's really a lot of wonderful information that you've shared in terms of the work that your agency does to help protect us. Now let's turn to Sally, but with the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. But before we do that, I have a poll question that I'm going to ask audience to respond to. So on your screen, let me bring up our poll. Okay, we have a poll question number 3, and this says, have you ever pulled money or equity out of your home? Please respond to that question. Okay, give folks a couple more seconds to respond to that question. 1, 2, 3, and we will end our poll here. And let's see how you responded to that. Okay, so a number of you have, less than about 38% have and 62% haven't. So I'm going to invite Sally now to come on and tell us more about the importance of using equity safely. So let me share screen. Sally, before you jump into telling us about using equity safely, can you tell us again, remind us who the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation is and what it does?
Sure. Thank you, Strat. So Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, or DFPI, is formerly the Department of Business Oversight. So we are California's licensing and regulatory agency of state financial institutions, products, and professionals, like California chartered banks, credit unions, or mortgage loan servicers, debt collectors, investment advisors, and payday lenders, and many more. So a full list is available on our website. But basically, we enforce the laws and regulation of the institutions that we regulate. We conduct audits to ensure compliance. We investigate consumer complaints of financial abuse and fraud and pursue legal actions against those operating illegally or are using unlawful, deceptive, or abusive business practices. Our goal of the outreach team is to increase awareness so to protect consumers from predatory businesses that are engaging in deceptive practices, to help protect consumers from falling prey to frauds and scams. Now, as a consumer, if you suspect that you've been a victim of a fraud or scam, or you have a question about the validity of a professional that you might be thinking about doing business with, please call our call center. Our live call center is amazing and can help with wait times under 5 minutes. We also offer translation services and can direct folks to the right agency if we're not it. So you can call us at 866-275-2677, or you can even email us at ask.dfpi@dfpi.ca.gov, and I'll go ahead and include that information later on in the chat as well. Next slide, please. So today, I'm going to talk about financing options and what older adults are doing or how they are accessing the built-up equity in their homes. Surprisingly, more people, when it was close to 40% when we took the poll a minute ago, have access to their equity in their home. So many homeowners right now have significant equity in their homes due to soaring home prices. Now let's take a look at some of the statistics. Nearly 80% of older adults age 65 plus own their homes. The average home equity for a senior homeowner age 65 plus is $143,500. Homeowners age 62 and older collectively own $9.2 trillion in home equity wealth. So why is this important? Next slide, please. So this brings up the term house rich and cash poor. I'm sure most of you have heard this before, but house rich, cash poor is when a homeowner has untapped equity in their property, but is either unwilling or unable to withdraw the money out of it. At the same time, their lifestyle or their spending or personal debt grows at an unsustainable rate because many older adults are on fixed incomes. So home equity is only usable wealth if you sell your home and
So I
downsize,
can just hit leave, huh?
borrow against that equity. With the cost of living going up, inflation, higher gas prices, higher food prices, and being on a fixed income, you may not have many options to budget any more than you're currently doing. So older adults, homeowners may consider financing options to take some equity out, some cash out from their home. And it may be for home repairs or home improvements, or it may be to meet monthly expenses because of rising costs. It could be to replenish or create an emergency fund. Or maybe it's just simply to travel. Next slide, please. So let's look at some ways on how you can pull out equity or financing options. As state regulators of mortgage loan servicers, we want you to first verify with us that the lender and mortgage loan servicer is properly licensed with us. Know who it is you're going to be doing business with. You can check on our website or call us at our customer service center, again at 866-275-2677. So homeowners can obtain equity from the home in the following 3 ways: by obtaining a traditional mortgage or a home equity credit line like HELOC, or even by a reverse mortgage. With a cash out refinance, you replace your current mortgage and borrow cash from your home equity. If you own your home outright, you'll get more cash out of the deal because there's no existing mortgage to pay off. Home equity loan, also known as a second mortgage, enables a homeowner to borrow money by tapping into the equity in the home. The loan then is dispersed in one lump sum, and then you pay it back in monthly installments. A HELOC, on the other hand, is secured by your home and gives you a revolving credit line, similar to a credit card. As you repay the balance, your available credit is replenished. HELOCs often have a variable interest rate. That interest rate tends to be lower, though, than what lenders charge for a credit card or for a personal loan. Now, in a reverse mortgage, a homeowner who's 62 years old or older and has considerable home equity can borrow against the value of their home and receive funds as a lump sum or a fixed monthly payment or even as a line of credit. But unlike a forward mortgage, the type used to buy a home, a reverse mortgage doesn't require the homeowner to make any loan payments. A reverse mortgage is the only way to access home equity without selling the home for older adults in situations like maybe you don't want the responsibility of making monthly loan payments. Maybe you can't afford a monthly loan payment, or you can't qualify for a home equity loan or refinance because limited cash flow or poor credit. Reverse mortgages can sound great, but it's not right for everyone. And it's also subject to various scams and frauds. Unscrupulous vendors and home improvement contractors have targeted older adults to help them secure reverse mortgages to pay for home improvement, so they say. But in other words, they're the ones who makes the money. The vendor or contractor may or may not actually deliver on the promised quality work. They might just steal the homeowner's money. So even when a reverse mortgage is issued by the most reputable of lenders, it's still a very complicated product. Borrowers must take the time to educate themselves about it to be sure they're making the best choice about how to use their home equity. Further, they should shop around and not go with the first lender who solicits their business. Rates and fees can vary widely among lenders. The federal government does not set reverse mortgage rates. And the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, requires that all prospective reverse mortgage borrowers to complete a HUD-approved counseling session before you can even get a reverse mortgage. Again, if you are or have considered refinancing your home or to pull out equity from your home, please call us before you sign any documents. You should, before signing any documents or thinking about taking any equity out of your home, please have a trusted family member or a trusted advisor, a friend with you, okay, before you get pressured into signing any documents. Lastly, know that there are other financing options for home improvements, like with government programs, some that Kevin mentioned earlier, and that Jackie's going to discuss more about with the PACE program. That's it for me, Strat.
Thank you very much, Jackie. That was really a lot of great information, especially and very timely, especially as you said, with how the housing market is today and the price of housing. So before I invite our next guest, Jackie Wiley, also with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, to talk to us about the PACE program, I'm going to invite our audience to participate in another poll question on the PACE program. So let me launch our poll, and please respond to this poll. Have you heard of the PACE financing program? Yes or no? How many of us have heard about that? All right, I'm going to give folks a few more seconds to respond. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me end the poll and see how you folks responded. So very few seem to have heard about this, about the PACE program. And with that, let me welcome Jackie with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation to tell us about the PACE program and how to safely apply it. Welcome, Jackie.
Okay, thank you so much, Strat, and welcome back. And those that are on for the first time, thank you for attending. So the PACE program, as of January 1, 2019, the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, or DFPI, which is what I'm going to be saying throughout this presentation, began licensing PACE program administrators, also known as PAs, and regulate the PACE industry. And what does that mean? A PACE solicitor is an organization authorized by a program administrator to solicit you, the property owner, to enter into the financing agreement with PACE for efficiency improvements to your property. Typically, a PACE solicitor is a contractor licensed by the Contractor State License Board. A PACE solicitor agent is an individual employed or retained by or acting on behalf of the solicitor. Again, typically registered through the Contractor State License Board. So I saw the poll. A lot of people haven't heard of it, don't know what it is. So let's talk about that. So what is PACE? PACE stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy. It's a program, a financing program that provides homeowners help to finance installation of energy efficient and water saving improvements to their property. And I always repeat this, Strat, energy efficient and water saving improvements. And why I repeat it is because there have been instances where people are not using those installations. So that means like new windows, the windows that you don't hear the noise, like Kevin said, solar, the energy efficient, the low flushing toilets. So I stress that because, again, consumers get coaxed into other improvements which are not PACE related, and misrepresentations coaxed into other home installations, misunderstanding of the financing program altogether. And so this is what we are seeing. Next slide, please. So it's imperative that you educate yourself before you commit, not just with the PACE financing program, but with anything. Educate yourself. So what we are seeing is that the PACE, the cost of the project or repayment of the loan can be, has been, and continues to be misrepresented. It's something like claiming no money down or no out-of-pocket costs, which of course gives the impression that all the services are free. So we already know in our mind, that's a red flag sign. Somebody's got to be paying for it, right? So the other thing is PACE is not a free government program. Just like Kevin said, homeowners must pay back the funding through their annual property taxes. This information seems to be omitted a lot. And so many have entered into this financing agreement and now are struggling with property taxes because it has doubled or tripled, and of course now are at risk of losing their homes. The third thing that we're seeing is that, people again are being coaxed into not applicable, not energy efficient installations. A contractor can come into your home and they're looking around and, saying, oh, wow, have you thought about upgrading your countertops? Maybe you might want granite. How about new cabinets? These are not applicable to the program. They're not energy efficient and or water saving products. So don't allow the contractor to coax you into adding another expense on top of the already expense of the financing program for the energy efficient products. And fourthly, we're also seeing that incomplete and unpermitted work. Sally mentioned that earlier. Kevin talked about that. And I always have this picture up here just to remind people that this is what could happen if you don't educate yourself and know about the program before you commit. A lot of us were doing additional dwelling units, which are ADUs. And of course, it's a great idea because it adds extra income. And it was really, really booming, especially when the pandemic started. People were turning their garages into ADUs. And unfortunately, there have been some instances that look just like the picture that's on the screen. Walking away, not coming back, leaving people's homes in shambles. So we want you to educate yourself and know about the program. Next slide, please. We're also seeing inappropriate use of signatures, which creates identity theft and of course, forgery. You know how when someone comes and, to sign the contract, instead of having the paper contract there, they're using the electronic device and you just sign your signature really quick. I'm going to implore and ask that you ask for a printed copy, because with the electronic devices, you don't see what the contract is saying. It also gives the individual a leverage of changing what they talk to you about versus what is on that pad. The other thing, the contractor should be verifying whether you, the homeowner, has the ability to pay for the financing. So that's the law. And I have to say this, some people don't follow the law. We all know that. And my motto is this: the bad ones make it bad for the good ones. So that's something that you need to know. If I'm on a fixed income and now my property taxes have doubled, how am I gonna pay for this improvement? How am I gonna pay for this now? The third thing here is that reverse mortgages taken out of your home for improvements, for this loan. If that is what your goal is, to take out a reverse mortgage or to refinance your home so that you can have the money to do the home improvements, don't allow the salesperson or the solicitor to change it or change your goal. Be mindful of what you took the money out for. So this is why it is important to do your homework. And to do your homework, I ask that you contact the DFPI to learn about the risks and the laws, and also get some answers to many of the common questions that you may have. Next slide, please. So how can you protect yourself? Like I said, do your homework. Verify, verify, verify before signing any contract. Be sure to check with the license of both the contractor and the lender. So to verify the contractor, contact the Contractor State License Board, like Kevin mentioned earlier. And to verify the lender is properly licensed to solicit you and to do the work, contact the DFPI. You can go to our website or you can call our Consumer Services Office at the toll-free number that's listed on the screen. And just like I said earlier, if you have any questions and you want to learn about the laws and the risk and gain more information before you sign the contract, verify and go to our website that is shown on the screen here. So Strat, that's basically it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jackie. That is awesome information. Let me ask, we are going to be taking audience questions just in a little bit. However, if they are later on, if audience do have questions and do want to contact you, how can they do that?
Okay, so Sally mentioned it earlier, and what I want to share, so the visual is there. Our audience is vital to the department. Consumers are our eyes and our ears. So if you know of someone breaking the law, let us know. Our website hosts helpful resources and a lot of information. So there it is in Vision. You can call us toll free at the number that's listed there, that 866-275-2677 number. And I love saying that we have live in-person representatives, and you don't have to press 1, press 2 to get to someone. We have access to dozens of translation languages, and we have little to no wait times when you call, and we don't ask for immigration status. So again, by calling us the toll-free number, we can help verify the licensing status of a financial institution, service, or professional. And we ask that you verify this information before you engage in business. I know for myself, I don't want to do business with somebody who is not properly licensed, and I don't want to do business with somebody that has been given some disciplinary action because they were not in compliance. And we can also help you fill out a complaint form should you need to file one against an institution or an individual that's licensed by our department. But again, if it's not within our jurisdiction, we will get it to the appropriate regulatory agency for handling. Again, if you have a simple question, you can email us. And then, our outreach materials to protect yourself from fraud hosts wonderful information about various scams, has a resource guide in the back so that you can look up other information. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Before we go to audience questions, let's do one last poll. Here's your poll question on what you've just heard. After hearing from our guests today, do you feel better prepared to protect yourself from home improvements and home improvements and frauds and scams? Please respond to that. Okay, we'll give folks a couple more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll end the poll and let's see how you responded. So just over 60% of you feel a little bit, feel yes, you feel better protected, better informed to protect yourself. A few somewhat, and we don't have any no. So thank you very much for responding to our polls. Now, let's go to some of your questions, and I'm going to invite my colleague who's working so diligently in the background to get your questions together. Priscilla, do we have any questions for Sally, Jackie, or Kevin?
Thank you, Strat. Yes, we've had a lot of questions on chat. So we had one question from Lorna, who asks how can she verify if a newly hired contractor is licensed? And I know we answered or provided some information, but maybe we can go over that again.
So Jackie, Sally, or Kevin, you care to respond to Lorna's question? Thank you very much for that question, Priscilla.
That's a great question. You want to go to cslb.ca.gov, and you're going to want to click on the license check button on the home page. And there you'll be able to enter the contractor's license number, or if you don't have the license number, you can enter the individual's name. If you don't have their exact name, you're not sure it's spelled right, you can also type in their business name, and you can hit a search button, and all the pages will come up, and you'll be able to find the correct one, and it'll determine whether or not their license is active. It's a great question.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Priscilla, please.
Yes, and we have a related question to that. I'm going to ask two questions. One is from Ron, and he asked, how do you check the license for a subcontractor?
Well, the subcontractor should be licensed with CSLB, just like the main contractor on a project, and that subcontractor's license number should be listed on the contract. If not, you'll want to ask your contractor, your prime contractor, the main person working on the project. You'll want to get that information from that contractor so you can confirm, in fact, that those subcontractors are licensed. It's a great question.
Wonderful. Any other questions, Priscilla?
Yes, we have a lot of questions. Another question was, why is it better to pay using a check instead of a credit card?
That's a
And
great
this
question.
question came from Lorna.
That's a great question. You'll want to pay with a check just because it's easier to make a copy of that check. You know, you have the carbon copy things and you'll have a copy of the check. You can always call the bank and cancel that check if you want to. A credit card also does offer you some protection. You can call the credit card company and dispute the payment, obviously, but then you're also worried about you just handed over your credit card information to a particularly unlicensed individual. So then you're going to have to be looking at your credit card statements every month, right? To make sure you don't see any strange charges on there. So it's almost better to pay by check, make sure you have a copy of that check saved in a folder so you can prove to us that you've made the payment of this amount on this date.
Great. Let me invite Jackie. I don't know, Jackie, if you care to weigh in. I think at our previous conversation, you talked about a specific pen for folks to use when writing their checks.
Oh, yeah, very good, Strat. So because there are still people who run around stealing mail, if you're writing a check to protect yourself from check washers, which can erase the amount and the payee, you can go to Office Depot, Staples, Walmart to get an anti-fraud gel pen, which will alleviate that from happening. An anti-fraud gel pen. Mhm.
Great tip. Priscilla, any more questions for our guests?
Yes, we have a question about the PACE program. And let's see, is a tankless water heater, does that qualify for the PACE program? And another question was AC and heating. Do either of those qualify for the PACE program?
I have a tankless water heater myself, and I think that that would be an energy efficient installment. Now, as far as AC goes, Kevin, can you help me on that? I don't know that that's an energy efficient product. Kevin?
That may have to depend on your local utility, whether or not that's covered by PACE. I know that when I put in a new air unit, my local utility had discontinued the energy efficiency program, or the funds had already run out. But I wasn't looking into PACE for that at all. I was just looking into my local utility offering discounts and rebates.
I the same. And what I also can suggest or offer information on the Nest thermostat. I have that that came with the my central air and heating, and I was able to get a rebate from my DWP. So I agree with Kevin, looking into rebates more so than a PACE financing product.
Thank you. Back to you, Priscilla.
Yes, we have a question from Chuck. He's interested in solar, but isn't sure where to start. Do you have recommendations?
Yeah, I would definitely head to cslb.ca.gov and find up my licensed contractor. And Chuck, you're going to want to click on that button and simply put in your place of residence or your zip code. And then from the drop-down menu, choose the solar classifications. And what you'll do is you'll get a list of solar contractors that are willing to work with you in your area. And that'll be a printable or downloadable list. And also, Chuck, I want to make sure that you're definitely getting at least 3 bids. We constantly stress to consumers, talk to at least 3 different contractors. That will give you a price range of your project so you can identify what is the best idea for my project. Some of these bids may be extraordinarily high, some of them may be extraordinarily low. You don't necessarily want to go with the lowest or the highest or the middle. You want to listen to 3 different contractors, see why the prices are varying and why they're different, and make an informed decision.
If I can add something to that, Strat?
Yes,
So,
please.
we talked about in one of our polls, how do you find the contractor? And a lot of people responded by getting a referral. And so that's something I would do along with what Kevin said. I would have my list ready in hand, but then I would go to my neighbors and check with 2-3 neighbors on my street or friends that have put in solar and say, what's your experience been? How are the contractors that you worked with? And then see on my list, are they on that list, right? Before I go further. So I would start by talking to friends and getting a referral from happy customers.
Great suggestion, Sally. And whilst I have you, can you share a little bit, or can you remind us, if folks do in actual fact run into a problem, how they can turn to the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation for assistance? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So if you want to file a complaint, if you've already signed a contract or are having issues with any state chartered banks, financial institutions, or professionals, you can file a complaint. And you would start by going to our website at dfpi.ca.gov, or you can also start by calling our call center at toll-free 866-275-2677. Again, we're able to assist you, answer any questions before you sign a contract or with any professional or an institution. But then afterwards, if you are having problems with somebody you're already doing business with or need to report on a fraudulent business, you can do that as well by calling your toll-free number. Thanks, Jack.
Wonderful. Thank you. Did you want to add something, Jackie?
I did, and if it is relating to an installation such as what we're talking about today, go to our website. We host a ton of information. There's a section of frequently asked questions so that you can become educated about this PACE financing program. And then again, always verify with CSLB, Contractor State License Board, and with us for the lender that you're choosing to work with.
Wonderful. Thank you. Priscilla, back to you for more questions.
Yes, we have a couple of questions from Ron. He's having some work done, and he has a question regarding unpermitted work, contractors, and verbal estimates. I'm not sure if Ron wants to come on camera and ask the question, or ask his questions using by unmuting himself.
Sure. So question I have is, I'm in the process of getting estimates to do a bathroom remodel. And I actually had one contractor say, oh, well, you don't really need to get this work permitted. And I had another one who just point blank said, well, do you want to get the work permitted? I wouldn't think that getting unpermitted work would be a really wise decision. And I just wanted to get your feedback on that.
Thank you, Ron. Who would care to, Kevin, would you care to respond to Ron?
Yeah, Ron, that's a great question. And I would definitely contact your local permitting office and find out yourself, is this work something that I should be getting a permit for? Because you don't know.
County, who would that be?
I mean, I could get on Google and look for you. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's fine.
There might be multiple in your area. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're working within your local permitting office, their scope of work. And to me, it sounds like one of the people you're talking to, one of the contractors you're talking to, either isn't informed or they might be trying to cut corners. So
I think you're trying to cut corners.
Yeah. So that's why when I say to try to get 3 bids, get at least 3 bids,
Right.
Right there, maybe that one that wants to do the work unpermitted, maybe that's a bid that you don't even consider. Maybe you consider making a 4th phone call or a 4th search and trying to find that out. But I would definitely make sure you're aware through your local permitting office whether or not that job does need to require a permit or not.
Yeah, and the other issue I'm having, especially here in Los Angeles, is contractors apparently are just super busy. It's almost impossible to get them to call you back. And when, for example, this guy, and I've had other contracts for other jobs, who will only give you a verbal estimate, and only after you commit to the job will they actually give you a written estimate. Is that common, or it just sounds really kind of fishy to me?
It really depends. It really depends. And I would just say, as long as you're not signing any estimate,
Right.
you're okay.
Okay.
If you feel uncomfortable not receiving a written estimate, that's fine. I wouldn't work with that contractor. I'd pick the next one on the list. But as long as you're not signing anything, the only thing you ever need to sign is the contract.
Right.
Okay.
Good,
All right.
good, very good advice there. Thank you, Kevin.
Great.
Get
Thanks so
everything in
much.
writing. Appreciate the question, Ron. Thank you for being with us. Sally, Jackie, anything to add to what we just spoke about? Big education component there.
Well, just like what Kevin said and what Ron was talking about, I personally would not do any work without somebody who wouldn't put it in writing. Yes, contractors are busy. They've got more work than they can handle. So yeah, sometimes they don't want to, call you back. They don't want to give it to you in writing because they know you're going to go and get 2, 3, 4 bids. We understand all that, but at the bottom line is that picture that Jackie showed, that could be you, because the contractors are so busy. If you do not have the scope of work and the time that Kevin mentioned of when they expect everything to be done in writing, the contractor gets busy, they've got some money in their pocket, they don't finish the work. So I don't want that to happen. So I personally am going to want everything in writing, even from an estimate all the way down to the final contract. I want to know everything in detail. And yes, we all know anytime you have a builder or contractor, if they say it's a month, we know it's double that, right? We know the work's going to get delayed and not going to get finished for 2 months. Knowing that, still, I definitely don't want to end up like that picture with unfinished work and the contractor running off with my money.
Absolutely. Even the use of substandard materials, get that all in your contract. I think it would be good. Jackie, anything you want to add before we go to Priscilla for our next questions?
I just want to add, always do your homework, do your homework. And I was reading in the chat, someone said, it's not always good to cut corners, and I totally agree. So verify and do your homework.
Thank you. Back to you, Priscilla. Do we have any more questions?
Yes, we certainly do. We have 2 questions from Sharon, and this is regarding the PACE program. The first question is, does the property tax automatically increase if you participate in PACE? And then the other question was, if you have used an unlicensed contractor and later find out, where do you find a judgment against that individual or other information?
I'll answer the first part of it with the pertaining to the PACE property taxes. Yeah, it's going to increase. And like I shared earlier, let's just imagine that you bought, that you got energy efficient windows, and you have 25 windows in your home. And now that is a cost of $20,000 that you're going to be financing through the PACE program. Okay, that 20 is going to be tacked on, like I said earlier, to your property taxes. So of course, if you're used to paying $2,500, for your property taxes, now it might be double that. So because that 20,000 is being tacked onto your property taxes, it's definitely going to go up. Yes.
Wonderful. Kevin, Sally, anything that you want to add to that?
No, I think Jackie covered it well.
Great. Let's go to our next question.
We had a question from Maria, and we talked a little bit about this, but if you can go over it again, can you talk about some of the scammers that we find with the PACE program?
For what we see and what we learn, the scammers come by contractor. They come by solicitation. One story that just sticks in my mind is about an elderly woman up in Oakland who just simply wanted to go through the PACE program, and she was partially blind. She needed some work done in her basement, but they took advantage of her because she didn't understand that this was going to be a loan and that it was going to be tacked onto her property taxes, and they left her basement in shambles. So the PACE scammers, if they're not under the umbrella of an administrator, which they should be, you would want to check with the department, the DFPI, for that. And then the solicitors that are soliciting this program need to be licensed contractors through the CSLB. So we want to be mindful that that is where the scams come in.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jackie. I think we have time for just one more question.
Yes, we have another question from Cindy who asks, are solar tiles a scam?
Who would like to take that? Who would like to respond to that? So Cindy? Sally, would you care to weigh in? I see you shaking your head.
Yeah, I unfortunately cannot comment on that question because I'm not familiar with quote solar tiles.
I would say everything is not always a scam. It can also be how it's represented and what it's used for. I wouldn't say that solar is a scam. It's if it is appropriate for you.
Wonderful.
Kevin?
I've never heard personally of solar tiles. If you're talking about solar panels and the solar systems in general, I know that solar is a giant growing industry in our state, and I kind of think we're almost like the world leader sometimes in the solar industry. But it's important to work with people who are licensed and know what they're doing. That would be my advice to you. And use the resources that we've been providing you today to hire a contractor to help you with that.
Absolutely. Very good advice. Thank you very much. Well, this has been an absolutely information-packed conversation. Unfortunately, we are out of time. So I'd like to thank our guests, Kevin Durraway from the Department of Consumer Affairs, Contractor State Licensing Board, Jackie Wiley, as well as Sally Westlake with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation for sharing their time as well as their advice today. I also want to thank my colleague Priscilla for helping us manage our questions. We know we had a lot of them in chat. And also special thank you to you for joining us today, joining our conversation and for sharing your comments and your question. I hope you will join us for our next conversation next week, which is on investment frauds. And in a minute, I will let you know how you can register and join that conversation. So let me share this slide. So our upcoming conversations are around investment frauds and financial empowerment. And if you go visit us at our website that's listed on the screen there, you can register for those events. We are also going to be taking, if you would like to submit a question ahead of our conversation, simply email us at conversations@aarp.org, and we will note your question and attempt to answer it during our upcoming conversations. Today's conversation was recorded. It will be available in a couple of days on our YouTube site, which is on AARP, which is AARP California's YouTube page. If you visit us there, you will get a recording of this conversation. We will also look to make the slides available. However, we have to find out how we are going to do that. We may send them out a little bit later on. So again, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And with that, I bid you all farewell and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye,
Join us
everybody.
next week.